when Edward innocently learns that his wife Connie has lied to him about an affair. Suspicion propels him to uncover the devastating details of her infidelity. Tormented by the knowledge, he confronts her lover, only to discover a level of rage within himself that he could never have imagined. Today we are going to talk about a 2002 American erotic thriller film, Unfaithful. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy. Edward and Connie Sumner live in Westchester County, New York with their 8-year-old son, Charlie. Their marriage is loving but a little monotonous and lacking in passion. On her way back for home after shopping, due to windstorm, Connie bumps into a stranger, Paul Martell, and scrapes her knees. Accepting Paul's offer to treat her injuries at his Soho apartment, she went along. He gave her a book as a souvenir. Uncomfortable with his advances, she leaves. When Connie tried to read the book, a piece of paper fell on the floor. It was Paul's phone number. She tried to call him at the subway station but was hesitant, but then managed to call him as invited over. Paul again flirts with her and she left. She then went to Edward's office to give him a present. Connie visits him again, and they share a dance. As they are becoming more intimate, feeling guilty, Connie tried to leave for home. When she returns to retrieve her coat, Paul literally sweeps her off her feet, carries her off to his bedroom, and they have sex. Connie was thrilled but feels guilty on the way home back and she cried. Connie uses her work as an excuse to continue visiting Paul, and they made love passionately. They even started to go outside. And one of Edward's employees, Bill, saw them kissing, but didn't say anything to Edward at that time. Her behavior raises Edward's suspicion. Noticing Connie readying herself with new shoes and lingerie, Edward asks her to meet them for lunch, but she says she has a salon appointment. Edward calls the salon and confirms Connie was lying. They met every day and had passionate sex, which result in Connie not being able to concentrate at home nor interest in her husband. That day, when Bill was sacked by Edward for not being loyal, Bill shouted to him angrily to look at his own family. Edward met a private investigator, Frank Wilson, to follow Connie. The next day, he left for a business trip. Connie immediately got dressed and went to meet Paul again. As they met freely, they don't know that they are watched and photographed. She even got late to pick up Charlie from school. She realized they had gone too far and decided to stop the relationship. When Frank provides pictures of Connie and Paul together, Edward was devastated. Frank also told him that she went to his apartment during the afternoon and stayed there for 2 or 3 hours. She decides to end things in person, and the following day, as she completes her grocery shopping errand, she drives to Paul's home to break off the news but notices him running off to the library with another woman. She jumps out of her car and runs to the library to confront Paul and the other woman. As she is in the elevator alone with Paul, she asks him how many women is he seeing, but Paul denies engaging with the question and tells Connie that the other woman is just a friend and nothing more. She then tells Paul that she doesn't want to see him anymore and mentions their affair is over. She also calls Paul a liar and tells him that she hates him. However, as she angrily storms out of Paul's apartment, he manages to chase and capture Connie. As Paul has caught Connie, he pushes her against the wall and begins to seduce her. She then tries to stop and fight Paul off. As Connie tries to resist Paul's sexual advances, she eventually gives in to him and they end up having sex in the hallway of his apartment. She leaves, narrowly missing Edward, who confronts Paul. Paul lets him into his apartment. As they discuss Connie, Edward is stunned to find a snow globe he had given her, which Paul explains she had gifted to him. Edward snaps and fractures Paul's skull with the snow globe, killing him instantly. Cleaning up evidence, Edward hears a crying Connie leave a message for Paul, mentioning that she has had enough of lying and hurting her family and that she is sorry but has to end the affair for good. He erases the message and later dumps Paul's body in a landfill but is plagued by memories of the murder. NYPD detectives arrive at the Sumner home, explaining that Paul's estranged wife has reported him missing, and Connie's name and phone number has been found on his desk. Connie claims she barely knows him. The detectives return a week later to reveal that Paul's body has been discovered. Edward denies that he never met Paul as the detective showed Paul's picture. Connie lies that she met Paul at a fundraiser which, to her surprise, Edward corroborates. Later, when she goes for laundry, she finds the photos of her and Paul in Edward's pocket, realizing Edward knew about the affair. She also notices that the snow globe has been returned to their collection. Sharing a meaningful look with Edward, she realizes he murdered Paul. They argue, and Edward says that he wanted to kill her instead of Paul. In the days that follow, Connie discovers a hidden compartment in the snow globe containing a photograph of her, Edward, and an infant Charlie, with a loving anniversary message. As she burns the photographs of her and Paul, she remembers the first time she met Paul, thinking if she would rather have his taken a taxi that day, no one would be in trouble now. Edward says he will turn himself in, but Connie objects, saying they will find a way to move on, and they appear to return to a normal life together. They attended an auction, and on the way home Edward stops at a red light with Charlie asleep in the back seat. Connie whispers that they could leave the country and assume new identities, and Edward agrees, consoling her as she cries. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos like this. See you. Till then, stay healthy and happy.